Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert. Now you might recognise this logo from the site. That's actually me, and that's what mainly my shed gets used for down the bottom of the garden. You've probably seen Russ and I play down here many times. But I had a couple of emails saying, could I please give a grand tour? So let's have a wander on inside and see the sort of kit I'm using, and maybe hopefully I can pass on a few tips and tricks along the way. So here we are, first things first, front door, quick look around. You can see it's not the biggest space in the world, but hopefully I've done a fairly reasonable job of cramming in the gear that I need. Some of my guitar collection, yes, there is a banjo there, it does get called out occasionally. Couple of different acoustics, all the more sought after guitars are Les Paul, Strat, Fender Tele, plus some odd stuff as well. Top of the rack, obviously we've got the printer because we've got to print out the invoices somehow. My 11 rack, which I love to pieces, gets used on 90% of all my tracks. Then I've got my beloved and aged now Korg TR rack, which I think is fantastic, and Novation Supernova, which doesn't get switched on that often, but just occasionally that thing makes the right sound. Next thing down, I'm really getting into 500 series gear, as I'm sure pretty much many of you know. At the moment I'm in the middle of testing these Aphex units, and these first two, the Aphex J-Pre's, I'm using as my overhead preamps at the minute. They sound fantastic. Then my 4710D Universal Audio unit, which sounds great, snares, hats, pretty much everything. And then the next two units down, which I'm absolutely in love with, are the Audient ASP008s, 8-channel preamp, and these are my go-to, my workhorse units, toms, overheads, hats, vocals, anything really. My liquid channel, which again I'm really getting into, loads of different preamp models in there, loads of different stuff to play with. Again, a lot of vocal stuff. I use it on snare top a lot as well. SPL Gold mic used to be my overheads of choice, but now I'm going for the Aphex. Then I've got my Sonora 2, my Sontronics preamp, my Focusrite ISA1, which I'm using primarily as an active DI box, and my UA D2 satellite. And there I've got my two Avid interfaces, my HDIO 1616 and my old 192. Now the unit on the bottom is a Ticket Powerline power conditioner. I haven't gone the Foreman route or Furman route. I think this thing's better, gives you a lot more output, a lot more juice, and also saves having wall warts everywhere because it does all the AC and DC 9 volt and 12 volt conversions. My pedal board, yes, probably a little over the top for a small studio, especially when I've got an 11 rack as well. But there's some sounds you can get out of the G system and out of some of the TC gear that I've got. It just sounds fantastic. You can create some amazing noises with that in the 11 rack in what's called a 5 cable mode. Small mixer, which I'm primarily use when I'm creating videos. Somehow you have to loop in and loop out of your Mac or whatever you're using. And I've also got an APC UPS, uninterruptible power supply. Very, very handy if the power to the studio does die. Gives me about 20 minutes of running everything, so I got the chance to save everything and turn everything off. Okay, tip number 1, boys and girls, is have every cable you ever think you're going to need, and have 2 of them, because chances are you're going to want to run things in stereo, and also chances are that if one of them's gone, the other one's okay. 2 cupboards, which are, yes, a bit of a mess, but in here I've got spares, I've got batteries, I've got plenty of packs of strings for all my guitars, bits and pieces, books, reference CDs, really, really important. A good one that you might not know of is Bob Catt's site, digidoo.com, has got a top 50 best mastered CDs of all time, in his opinion. Take a look at that and take a listen. 3 of my most used guitars, my Strat, my Tele, and my Yamaha bass. Tip number 2, get yourself an extremely comfortable chair. This is not one of those uber expensive Arielon or Arelon chairs, but it is quite a nice one. You can get these online, a couple £100. It's well worth getting something comfortable, and that's not going to wreck your back after hours and hours of use. My 2 Euphonics control surfaces, no, there's no actual console in here. To be honest, there's no space for it. I don't really need it. And these things work just as well. I've also got an Spl Monitor Controller. Now this is actually the surround controller, but this thing helps me out so much. Not only does it provide me with one master volume control for the whole studio, but it also lets me route signals around, picking from either my laptop or the Mac or from my HD system. My two monitors, my Focal Twin 6Bs, I love these things. I'm a great one for keeping notes, so you will see hundreds of notepads and pens and things like that around the studio. My TC Voice Live Touch I really love for working out harmonies for me, so I haven't got to sit around for hours. My two controller keyboards, I've got a rather old Korg Karma, which I think is fantastic, a really original style of synthesis. It sounds really great, it's got some really great sounds in it. But I've also got a M-Audio controller keyboard there as well. Bypassing the drum room just for a minute. You can see out there the garden. It's a really good idea to get some fresh air from time to time. Air conditioning is very important, but it's nice to have some space to go and break out to. Mentioning that, there's the aircon. Very, very grateful for that this last couple of weeks. Russ said only yesterday on the podcast that he was sweltering. I was lovely and cool, actually, funny enough. Behind this door is my cupboard, my junk room, my store room. Let's have a quick look in here. This could be dangerous. Yeah, you can see it's full of all the bigger stuff. So my mic locker is in here, down there somewhere. Spare drum heads, spare parts, mics, bits and pieces. It's really, really important. If you're going to have a facility that earns money and charges clients money, there should be as little downtime as possible. So if someone breaks a string, breaks a head, whatever, you've got to have the spares there and then. Down here is one of the stage boxes, or the plug-in boxes that leads to the back of the rack. There's another one of these in the drum room, which we will look at now. So passing on into the drum room, you can see here's my Yamaha Beach Custom kit, all mic'd up and ready to go. The snare drum I'm using is actually a 13x7 that I built myself on a drum building course down at Tiki Drums in Brighton. Great sounding drum, really versatile, sounds awesome for the sort of stuff I'm doing at the minute. But to be honest, I've been doing a jazz record this week. You guys probably know I love Sontronics mics, DM1Ts on the toms, DM1S on the snare drum, STC1s, I think, STC1s on the hi-hat and the overheads. You can see down there's not a lot of space in front of the kick drum, but in there is a DM1B, the kick drum, and a Shure Beta 91A, one of those sort of flat PZM style. Pair of STC1s mounted off the ceiling. Cables are sort of temporary at the minute, but I will probably get around to tidying those up. Then my 3 amps. I've got my bass amp, my beloved TC Electronic RX750, Baby Angle Gigmaster 15, and that's actually wired at the moment into the Tuba 12, which is sat below my Marshall JCM 800. Next tip, buy decent mic stands. You're going to spend £200, £300, £400 on a microphone and you're going to put it on a 20 quid stand? No, don't do it, because when that stand goes over, and trust me it will, your mic's going to end up like an oil painting on the deck, not pretty. So spend a couple of quid. These K&M stands are fantastic, they do loads of different heights, they're not that much more expensive. So down here is my other patch box. Now all my patch boxes lead directly into specific channels of preamp in the rack. And you can see here on the wall my cheat sheet, and this is definitely one of my top tips. Make sure you have a cheat sheet so you know what goes where. If it comes up on a patch bay, then fantastic. I haven't bothered with patch bays because, quite frankly, I think the jack style ones aren't good enough. The Bantams are way too fiddly, and to be honest, I can have everything permanently patched, and if I want to change things, I can just pull the rack forward and rearrange stuff if I need to. But make yourself a cheat sheet. Post it somewhere. There's a copy on the wall in the drum room. There's also a copy on the rack behind me where I'm sat now. So you can see here out into the main room, it's a triple glazed argon filled door. So believe it or not, there's not a great deal of sound that penetrates from the drum room out into the control room, even when I'm playing. And there you go, there's a quick 360, and that's pretty much a tour of location recordings and all things Real Rhythm. Now it looks like the sun is shining, so let's head outside and let's have a quick chill out here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick look around the studio. Please do click on the Real Rhythm banner if you ever need any real drums, real bass or real guitars recorded on your projects. Also remember to click on all the other banners around the PTE site. It really helps us out and helps all those other companies out as well. Well, back to work for me now. Got some recording to do, and I'll see you again soon on another gear review or tutorial video.